welcome back to the Public Gardens GIS training series. This is lesson 3. Today we're going to learn how to digitize features using the ArcGIS Public Gardens data model, and we're also going to take a closer look at some of the model's capabilities. As in the previous lesson, you're going to need a computer with Windows XP or better, the Arc Editor or Arc Info license of ArcGIS Desktop 9 or 10 on your computer. And this video is going to showcase some of the new features in ArcGIS 10 for editing, so it's highly recommended that you have that version of the software on your computer before continuing. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so to get started, we're going to download some files from the APGG website. I posted some files on the website so that we could pick up basically where we left off, and I added a few other things that are going to make things go a little bit smoother today. So if we go to apgg.org again, as we did in the previous lesson, and we scroll down to downloads, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the downloads page, you'll see that there's now a Public Garden GIS training section here, and we can download this lesson3.zip, which will contain the files that we need to get going today. So if you click on download, we'll save this file to the folder that we were saving all our data in yesterday. So that's going to be on my C drive, in my GIS folder, and I created this UC Davis Arboretum folder. So once you get in there, just hit save, and it should download really quick. And we can close the web browser here. Okay, so once that file is finished saving, you can close the web browser and then open up Windows Explorer and navigate to the folder where we saved everything. And for me, that's my C GIS and UC Davis Arboretum folder, and there it is. So depending on the version of zip software that you have on your computer, the methods for extracting this data is going to be a little bit different. If you don't have a program like WinZip or WinRAR or something like that on your computer, then you can just right click and hit the extract button. That'll come up on this context menu. For me, I have to open with WinZip. And if you have any questions about how to do this, consult the documentation for the zip program that you have on your computer. I'm just going to click on zip here, and I'm going to unzip it to the folder that we were working in and a new subfolder called Lesson 3. It goes through, and when the little green light comes on here in the lower right hand corner, then we're all set. And it opens up the folder for us and shows us what's inside. And basically what we have is a geodatabase with the data model already preloaded inside of it, and then I've created some aerial photography that we're going to use to digitize some features off of. So I can close this window, close WinZip, and close the folder we're working in. And that concludes the download and unzip portion of this lesson. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is open up ArcMap, and we'll start digitizing some data. And as always, ArcMap can take a little while to load. And once it does, we're going to start with another blank map as we did yesterday, and just hit OK. And if your distributed geodatabase toolbar is still open, we're done with that, so you can go ahead and close that. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is add in this aerial photography that I included. Now if we click on folder connections, if all goes well, we should still have our connection to the folder where we're saving all of our data. And now inside of that, you should see, if everything worked out with the unzip in the previous section here, you should see a lesson 3 folder. And inside of it, it has a geodatabase, as I mentioned, that has all of the things that we took a brief look at yesterday. And this file here called South Area KCE section 2009.tif. And what this is it's a portion of the aerial photography for our garden, which is the UC Davis Arboretum, and it is just of what we call the South Area KCE section, which is just a defined area in our garden. And these photos are from 2009, so I saved the date in there. It's always good information. So if you click on that and hit add, it'll add that photo to the map. And this photo, just to know a little bit about it, it has what we call a 6-inch resolution. So that means that every little pixel that makes up this picture is approximately 6 inches on a side in real world units. So that's representing an area that's 6 inches by 6 inches on the ground. So what that really means, though, is that it's a pretty high resolution photograph, and you can see things pretty clearly. These cars are pretty clear. You can use the zoom in tool here and see how far you can zoom in before you start losing quality. So now you can start to make out these pixels here that are the 6 inches by 6 inches. And get back to where we were, we'll hit the full extent button. And now we're zoomed all the way back out. So one of the first questions that people usually ask about aerial photography is, where do I get it? So that solution is going to vary depending on where your garden is and who you're associated with. So in our case, we're a university garden, so we're associated with the University of California, and our campus gets the photos flown every year or two, and we usually ask them that when they get the new photos that they provide us with them. If you're just starting out and you need to get to some aerial photography, one of the easiest places to get it from is the city. So if you want to talk to the planning department at your local city or even county, they can generally provide you copies of the aerial photography for free, and just stress the fact that you're a kind of an education institution, and that tell them what you're going to be doing with it, and they usually don't have any problems giving it to you. So if we carry on here, I've got this photography from my campus, and I kind of clipped it down for this lesson to be in the area that we're going to work in today. And what we're going to do is kind of create a map for this little section of our garden. So what we're going to start doing is add some more features from the data model in. So I'm going to hit the Add Data button. Click on this, and we're in the Lesson 3 folder here. Click on the UC Davis Arboretum Geodatabase, or whatever you've named it, and go into the base map feature dataset. And then we're going to add a few things in. So if we scroll over, we're going to want to scroll over to the M's. We're going to add this feature class called Mass Planting. We're going to add this one called Pavement Segment, and you can select multiples by hitting the Control key on your keyboard before you click. We're going to add Plant Center and Plant Center Annotation. And we're going to add Planting Area, and scroll over one more, and Section. And then click Add, and it'll add all of those feature classes from the data model into the table of contents on the left-hand side, and it may take a minute for your software to do that. So now if you scroll down the table of contents here, you'll see all these things that we just added in there. And there they all are. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start editing in ArcMap, and basically we're going to start drawing in some of these features off of the photograph. So to start editing, we're going to use the ArcGIS 10 method here. We're going to hit the editor toolbar, and it's going to bring up this toolbar. If you're using ArcGIS 9, some of these commands are going to be a little bit different, but you can definitely get them accomplished pretty much in the same format. So, and then we're going to hit the editor drop-down menu here and click Start Editing. And in ArcGIS 10, that brings up a Create Features panel on the right-hand side. If you're in ArcGIS 9, this panel won't come up, but you'll see a pencil tool on your editor toolbar, and you can use that to create most of the features that we're going to be creating now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're basically going to select what we want to create from this Create Features palette here, and then we're going to draw it on the map. So I want to start by delineating the section that we're working in and drawing a boundary around it. So my photo is cut off just a little bit by this Create Features palette here on the side, so I'm going to grab the Pan tool, and I'm going to move this photo over. And because we want to digitize with a decent level of accuracy, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, so I'm going to grab the Zoom In tool and click a rectangle around the area of interest to kind of maximize it on the screen. Okay, so now we're ready to draw. So we scroll down here in the Create Features palette to Section, and just click on Section. And then you notice that our cursor changes to a crosshair, and we can start drawing. And basically, I want to delineate the boundary of this section as it's bounded by the road and the water. So I'm going to start clicking, and I'm going to put in a vertex every so often here along the edge of the pavement. And for the purposes of this lesson, we're not going to focus too much on accuracy. If you were doing this for your garden, you wanted to get things just right, you'd probably want to zoom in a lot further so that you could really match these vertices up to the boundary between the pavement and the soil. So when we get to the water, we're going to turn the corner here and keep going. You can see that the polygon in ArcGIS 10 kind of blocks off the area that you're working in a little bit. One solution to this problem might be to change the symbol for the polygon before you start drawing to something hollow so that it's not blocking you. But for this demo, we're just going to go with this. When you get to back to where you started and you want to close it, you just double click to put in a new vertice and close the polygon. And now we have a polygon. And this polygon will define our section boundary. Now the next thing we want to do is to add a little attribute information about this. So on the editor toolbar, hit the attribute button, and that'll bring up a new palette in ArcGIS 10, and ArcGIS 9 it'll bring up a window in the middle of the screen. So over here it shows the fields that are associated with the section feature class, and they're pretty basic for this one. Section ID needs to be a unique number that for each different section that you have in your garden. Since this is the first one we drawed, we're just going to give it number 1. And for the section name, this is the South Aracasey section of our garden, so I'm going to type that in. And if you have any comments you want to add on this, maybe things that you need to do in this section in the future related to GIS, you could put something here. So if you wanted to make a note about checking the accuracy of your vertices or zooming in more, or whatever it is that you want to come back to, this is a place that you can do that. So once we're all done with that, we can just click this select features tool here, or edit tool they call it now in ArcGIS 10, and click off it, and now it's not selected anymore. And what I'm going to do is make this clear so it's not blocking out everything else in the section. So in the table of contents, scroll down to section and click the symbol, and then select the hollow symbol, and I want to give it a little thicker border, so I'm going to change the outline width to 2 and click OK. Now we've just got a line all the way around it, and we can still see what's going on inside of it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is fill in the rest of this area that is inside of our section. So we have this pathway that kind of divides the section to a few chunks, and then we have some soil areas here where we have some different plants planted. So we want to delineate all those and kind of fill in a continuous surface inside of our section. So we have a couple feature classes that we loaded in here that'll take care of that for us. One is called pavement segment, which is designed for different segments of pavement, and it's in segments because pavement's usually applied in pieces and not necessarily a continuous surface. So if you wanted to track areas that have been repaved recently, you could draw different polygons for that, and thus we call those segments of pavement. And then we also have another feature class called planting area, which is meant for these kind of soil areas here that we reserve for planting plants in our garden. And each one of these different feature classes has some different subtypes that define different types of pavement segments here and different type of planting areas. So to start editing, let's draw the planting area in first. So we're already in edit mode, and we're going to need to bring up the Create Features palette again here. So to do that, in ArcGIS 10, you hit the Create Features button here at the right of the editor toolbar. If you're in ArcGIS 9, you want to grab the pencil feature and change the target to being to planting area of type soil. So for ArcGIS 10 users, Create Features, you're going to go down to planting area here, and we're going to create a soil planting area. So click on soil. And then the crosshair cursor will come up and we can start going. I accidentally clicked to start editing here and it put a vertex in, but it put it in a good spot, so I'm going to go with it. So as we go along, we're just going to basically trace the outline of this planting area. And the photo shows a little bit of shadow here, so it's a little tough to see what's going on, but I'm just going to kind of go along with it.